Hello everyone. I am back and welcome to another stream of Microsoft Flight Simulator where we are going to be flying the Kodiak 100 and we'll be doing on-air airline manager missions. If you have been following my previous streams, last time before I went for a little break, I had the on-air airline manager on a trial version, and finally I got back and I got it for 12 months subscription, which was around 35 bucks. I think it was pretty worth it. From what I saw in the trial version, I really loved it. So right now we are at Wayne County Airport in Ohio, and we will quickly, well, as you can see, the weather is very terrible here. It's all snowy. I still don't know the weather, so let's quickly grab our on-air airline manager window and we are going to start looking for jobs. I see there's one pending already, and I think that is because after I leveled up, they gave me some kind of job. Yeah, they're like 2 jobs, which is all the way in LaGuardia, my home base. So we're gonna skip those for now because we are all the way over here. We'll try to get back. So we'll try to find missions that are towards the east so that we can get there in time. So let's go ahead on our logistics center. We're gonna put our filter of Kodiak 100 and we'll select around starting from 50 nautical miles to 100 nautical miles missions. So airport size is minimum 2, and let's go ahead and see what we get. Not too many, I would say, the ones that I like, but we can go to Pittsburgh. It seems like, let's look at that mission. Okay, it looks like 2 missions. So we'll fly to Pittsburgh first, and then we have to fly to, I don't even know what airport, Washington County Airport, I think. I mean, we can take that. We can carry all the cargo. We drop first to Pittsburgh, and then from there we go to Washington County. Sounds good. I think this will be fun, and the pay is not bad either. So let's go ahead and take that mission. Let's go to pending and confirm that we selected the job. Yes, we did. So for this one, I will leave it how it is, and right here. Okay, so let's go ahead on our live operations map. From there, we are going to prepare our aircraft for flight. So 85 nautical miles and 79 nautical miles. Okay, so we're gonna go to Pittsburgh first, so let's load all of that. We have, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill it up because last time I made a mistake where I barely had fuel. Like, I literally, my plane shut off the moment I landed. So let's go ahead, put some fuel in here. We'll take as much as we can. Also, I don't know why it's so laggy today. Okay, well, this sounds good. So our total fuel will be 943 pounds. So let's go ahead and validate that. We already selected all the load that we're gonna put into our aircraft, and it will take 1.9 minutes. Few updates is that we have I have mapped all the soft keys on my loop deck as well for the PFD and MFD. So I'm pretty excited for that, to check how it works, and I love this livery. It seems like we are going to be using runway 28 from there. Looking at the windsock, definitely using runway 28. But we will still check the weather and we'll confirm that. 1.3 minutes remaining for loading everything. It is taking just a little bit of time. What we can do is let's go inside and do few stuff. So our fuel shut off, left and right can come on, our harness will be lock, and our firewall shut off valve will go in. Preliminary check, let's go ahead on our circuit board. Now, I don't like the standby altitude, and I'm not going to use it, so I'll just take that off. Other than that, all our levers are in cut off, feather, and idle position. Flaps up, parking brake is set, all the switches are off. And today also we're gonna do a low start, because normally I prefer doing high start, but I don't have a GPU connected, so I guess we'll be doing a low motor start. And in Kodiak 100 it is recommended that you do a high start when available. It gives you a much cooler start in terms of engine temperature, but because we do not have a GPU unit connected, we are going to settle in for a low start. One more thing that we're gonna check is the weather radar. So I found out that the G1000 NXI in Microsoft Flight Simulator, they basically took the working title team and used their work into their they applied the working title G1000 NXI into all of the default Flight Simulator planes, and even using it on the Kodiak, and the weather system does work, and I checked it. It seems like we are ready with our departure, so we're gonna just click fly now and then start tracking. Okay, so we have started tracking, so let's go ahead inside and start our okay, first master switch comes on, avionics bus comes on, and we'll press the soft key. Actually, let me try my soft keypad. It will be 12. Okay, there you go. Soft key works. Great. Let's turn our nav lights to start with. And okay, let's go to our checklist. Parking brake is set. Electrical switches we just turned on. Flaps up. Nav light on. Fuel and weight check done. So before engine start, emergency power lever is normal. All the levers are good. Master switch is on, avionics master switch is on. Flight plan, so let's go ahead and set our flight plan. So for that we are going to go to our PFD and we're gonna go to flight plan. So we'll do one leg at a time. So let's go ahead. Origin, we are in Kilo Bravo Juliet Juliet, and right here once you press enter we should see the weather right here. So it says 270 at 10 knots. We have runway 28. We're gonna select that and enter. For our destination we are going to Kilo Bravo no, actually Kilo Papa, I think. Yeah, Kilo Papa India Tango. So let's go Kilo Papa India and Tango. Okay, let's check the weather there. So it's 270 at 7 knots, so similar. So we are going to choose 28 left, center or right. Just choose 28 right for now. And let's go to procedure, select approach and ILS 28 right. So we can do the ILS or we can just do the RNAV. We'll just go settle with actually I'll just do the RNAV 28 right LPV. So let's go ahead with that. Grace, next we're gonna go with Grace as our initial approach fix. Minimums we will select with the radio altimeter, and we are gonna make our decision about 350 feet above the ground. So let's go ahead and load that, and if we okay, yeah, there you go. That sounds perfect. So in terms of the flight plan, it is done. So now let's go ahead okay, PFD. So now we are going to set our CDI first to GPS, and then we're going to set our autopilot system. So I'm thinking what we can do is we can, how far is it? About 100 nautical miles. So we're going to set about 12,500 for our cruising altitude, and we will turn on our nav And then we're going to turn our vertical speed mode, and we're going to initially climb at about 1500 feet per minute. So everything looks set over here. We'll set our heading bug to our runway heading. So we're going for runway 28, which is 276. So 276, there you go. Our runway heading is good and set. And our altimeter. Final thing to do is our altimeter. I will quickly do it away from screen. Flight plan. So altimeter is 29081. So let's set the 29081. Okay, altimeter is set as well. So we are good with all of those things. And now let's quickly check the weather actually once we are cruising, we're gonna check the weather system, how it works. Okay, so engine start. For engine start, it's gonna be pretty quick. What we're gonna do is first we're gonna turn our beacon light, so let's go ahead and do that. Next, we're gonna turn on our auxiliary fuel pump, our ignition, and put our starter to low. We'll watch all our N's and T's over here. Once NG reaches a minimum of 14%, we're gonna bring our fuel fuel condition lever into low idle, and we're gonna watch for green NG, which is about 53%. Once we have that, we can go ahead, turn off our starter, ignition, and put our fuel pump to standby, and then we can turn our alternator, generator, auxiliary bus, and put our propeller to max RPM. So that's a lot of things, so let's go ahead do all of that. I'm just going to put the screen over here. I'll do everything with the buttons that I've set. So we're gonna watch over here. First of all, our beacon light is on, auxiliary fuel pump can come to on, ignition can come on, and starter goes to low. Now all we have to do is watch our NG rise up to 14%, which it did right now, and put our condition lever to low idle. We are at about almost 50% NG. And there you go, 53. So starter can go off, ignition can go off, auxiliary fuel pump will come to standby. Now let's turn our generator, alternator, avionics, bus. So we all have the pitot heat can come on because outside temperature is 1 degree, and we should turn it on when it's below 4 degree. So pitot heat has turned on as well. We have a good engine start. Propeller can go to max. We have enough fuel, and our RPM is rising. So once we have all that, we can start with our taxi. So for taxi, simple. We're just gonna get out of the ramp. We are going to take a right turn alpha, and we'll be lined up with runway 28. It is raining as well. Also, before I forget, let me set up the rudder trim just a little bit. Also, we can turn our yaw damper. Okay, we have normal engine start. Let's set our flaps for takeoff, which we did before we taxi. Yaw damper is on. Taxi light can come on right now. Rudder trim is set, so we are good for taxi. Parking brake goes off, and we provide just a little bit of speed. Okay, this guy needs to move. My takeoff view is set. I really love flying this aircraft. And we are on Alpha taxiway right now. We are very close to the runway, and wow, it is raining really bad. Once you're on cruising altitude, I will show you how to turn on the weather radar on the MFD. Just do a little bit of trim down, and ooh, okay, we are here. Before we line up though, we're going to do a few things. So I'll stop here, my power can come to 0. We are going to turn off the taxi light, landing and strobe light can come on, auxiliary fuel pump can come on, and fuel condition go to max. Our flaps are set, so we are good for takeoff. So there you go, we are lined up and we are a go. We'll rotate at around 60 nautical miles, 60, 65. Already at 60, we can go ahead, lift off. Okay, flaps goes up the first notch. Plane is struggling with all the, and flaps goes completely up. Auxiliary fuel pump can come off. It is struggling, the headwind is really strong, and once we turn we'll have it as our tailwind. I'll turn on my autopilot and let's go ahead to our procedure, and I like to activate it right now so that we head straight to our first initial approach fix. Now all I have to do is based on the speed, I just fix the climb rate and we should be good. So after takeoff checklist, lights are good, auxiliary fuel pump off, fuel condition lever high, torque is on green, IDT on green, and we're climbing at about 100 knots and with a climb rate of around 1,000 feet per minute. We're climbing at a good speed, it seems like. So let's go and quickly check on the weather radar that I was talking about. So in order to do that, we have to actually go to this page and go to the map and then go to weather radar. Right now it's off, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna press the 4th soft key, then we're gonna bring standby and weather. So there you go, it does show. So right now we are in the horizontal mode, so it shows us whatever is coming in front of us based on the nautical miles. So as you can see, after 30 nautical miles we are pretty clear, it seems like. So what we can go right now is we can press the ground. Actually no, we're gonna go back and we're gonna press on soft key 7, I believe, for vertical. Yeah, so vertical one helps a lot as well, because if you zoom in it shows you. So we have plus 15,000 feet and minus 15,000 feet over here. So right now the weather is actually right on our altitude, but as we climb we can see that the weather is gonna be very clear. So this way you can know the weather vertically on what altitude you're flying based on that. And if we go to horizontal, then we can see what's coming up right in front of us based on the horizontal mapping. So that is it for weather. It's actually very neat, and I'm very happy that now, at least in the Kodiak 100, it works. So that is that, and then we can just go back to our navigation map and turn on our flight plan. And still we are climbing at around 100 knots. I'm gonna decrease the climb rate just a little bit to bring it back to around 100 knots, and the weather is still not cleared up here. I will soon create the YouTube video where I demonstrate how to map all the soft keys and the regular keys on the G1000 to loop deck using SpadNext. It is really a very neat solution, and it saves you a lot of money from buying. I mean, it's completely up to you if you have the money that you want to spend on buying a proper G1000 from Just Flight, not Just Flight, from Sim Flight something. Yeah, I forgot the company, but they have very neat products. But as for me, I have a loop deck and it works perfectly. I will definitely create a tutorial about mapping the G1000 keys with a loop deck. We're decreasing the speed, so I'm gonna drop my vertical speed just to bring the speed back to around 100 knots. There is tailwind, 23 knots of tailwind coming from right behind us. Let's check on the weather for our destination if it matches. Yeah, there are a lot of approaches available. Pittsburgh 270 at 7 knots. That is, I believe, also in our flight plan here in our MFD. So 270 at 7 knots. Altimeter is 2979 or altimeter 2977. So a little bit of difference, which I think if I refresh it should do it. Okay. And we are broken at 2700 feet. Yeah, the weather seems pretty good, not too bad. Scattered at 1900. Yeah, the weather doesn't seem too bad to me for our destination, and our top of descent shows it's gonna come in at about 40 minutes. Now once we start cruising, that's a different story. That will decrease real fast, but as for our mission, we first have to go to Pittsburgh, drop the printed magazines that we picked up, and then we have to drop at Washington County Airport some freezers. No passengers today, only cargo. I really like how good OnAir airline manager is. So let's quickly go ahead and check our upcoming weather that we can now easily check. So let's go to map, weather radar. So the yellow light, yellow means medium. I don't know what it is, whether rain or snow. And green means light, black means we are clear. So as of now, we have up to 60 nautical, 80 nautical miles. There is weather. And now if we change it to vertical, then we are gonna be clear of it, it seems like. There you go, we are definitely gonna be clear of it. So this is where we are right now, and we are obviously increasing our altitude more, so we're gonna be somewhere over here. I really like this weather radar, and I'm gonna use it a lot. So let's go back to our navigation map, turn on our flight plan, and stay here. Oh, there you go, it cleared up. Nice. I absolutely love flying this plane. Speed is decreasing a little bit, so we're gonna decrease our climb rate to about 500 feet. So we've just crossed 10,000 feet, so let's go inside the cockpit and turn off our landing light. Landing light can come off, and also we're just gonna start the oxygen as we're going to get to 12,500. So I'm going to turn on that, and I'll also turn on the AC or heating system that we're going to be using right now. We are around 28 minutes away from our top of descent, which is definitely going to change once we are cruising at around 150 knots. Right now we have around 1,300, 1,300 feet to go up, and the outside temperature is negative 19 degrees Celsius. We are flying above the clouds that we confirmed earlier using the weather radar, which I'm so excited about using and will help me a lot. Coming up in front of a big cloud. Also, I'm going to start streaming like every flight that we do, whether it's in OnAir Airline Manager or not. We are going to be doing it on VATSIM. Really excited about that. Just getting the preparation done, learning a few more stuff so that I don't, I'm not there in a situation where I don't know what to do. So just fixing few things, getting some reading done about VATSIM, and then we're gonna be good. I think once we start cruising, we are going to reach our top of descent fairly shortly, so that should be good. And what we are gonna do is we are going to do a quick landing, drop off the stuff that we have to in Pittsburgh, and then fly off to our second destination, which is Kilo Alpha Foxtrot Juliet. I think it's Washington. It was Washington County something. Washington County Airport. And we have reached our cruising altitude. So now we are going to be cruising along, and we should reach our top of descent in about 20 minutes as expected. Flying over some fluffy clouds. I really love how far Microsoft Flight Simulator has come. My experience with Flight Simulator was, for the first time, I think it was FS 2004, and I played that in the year, I think 2008 or 10, and then I also used FSX for a bit, and then I think 3 or 4 years ago I first got the Flight Simulator, the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, I think 2 years ago, yeah. And I didn't use it for a while, but now I'm back at it and enjoying it a lot more because I decided to learn. And this is one thing that I recommend every beginner. Like if you wanna really enjoy Flight Simulator, start learning those aircraft. Learn how to fly the Phoenix A320 or PMDG 737. Yes, it's gonna take maybe a few hours depending on how much you already know, or maybe even longer. But if you do have the time and you do want to enjoy it and add some realism, I would definitely say that start learning the aircraft. A really good guide that helped me learn the A320 was by Fly-by-Wire. Their documentation is very, very good, and once you learn one aircraft, the next one is going to be easier compared to how you felt when you were learning your first one. And then I did fly airliner for a bit, so now I'm really enjoying flying the GA aircraft like Kodiak 100. I really like it. I still don't know what next aircraft I should choose, but I think for now I'll be flying this a lot more. But yes, learning the aircrafts in and out really helped me understand and enjoy this simulator a lot more. And we're cruising at around 150 knots, and our top of descent is 15 minutes away. So we're definitely going to use the VNAV feature, which is basically if you're using the G1000 NXI, you can set a lower altitude, which I usually do for final approach fix, maybe like 400 feet lower than the final approach fix altitude, and then I just press the VNAV button and wait until we get there. So now that we're only 15 minutes away, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly go to my MFD and I am going to get the weather. So let's go ahead to destination, and our altimeter is 29079. So 29079 is set on our altimeter, and as you can see on our final approach fix, Zyko is 3000 feet. Right here, 3000 feet for our final approach fix. So I would set around like 2600 feet on my altitude selector in my PFD, and from there I will just turn on my VNAV and will be descending however the aircraft thinks is best. Right now our top of descent is around 13 minutes away. The waypoints are really funny though. So the first one, the initial approach fix, is Grace, and then we go to Nasty, and then we go to Zyko. This is our final approach fix. A lot of tailwind, 36 knots coming in. Let's go outside and see. Everything is just frozen below us. The next thing that I think I'm going to learn is how to read weather charts. Really excited about that too. And if we go to our checklist or descent checklist, we have our altimeter set, our approach procedure is checked, we just checked it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And before landing is basically turn off the yaw damper, make sure the flaps are full, auxiliary fuel pump is on, and we should have a good touchdown. I hope so. Lately I've been not having soft landings, so let's try to make this one a better landing than I had previously. Once we are about 5 minutes away from our top of descent, I will set my altitude selector to 2600, and we are going to also turn on the VNAV mode. For now, enjoy the view. I'll be back. Okay, so we are about 8 minutes away, so let's go ahead and set our altitude selector to, as we discussed earlier, 2600. So I'm gonna quickly bring that down to 2600, and we're basically gonna hit the VNAV button, which let me show you where it is. It's right here, right next to the altitude selector. So we're gonna select that VNAV, and now if we go to our PFD, you can see right here VPath is armed. It is not activated, but it's armed. 2600 it's selected, and our final approach fix, if we check, is at about 3000 feet. So that's why I just keep it a little bit lower, so in case I forget to disengage the autopilot, we're still descending down if we do not capture the glide slope. Lately I have had some issues where the glide slope gets captured, but then it just leaves it suddenly. So we're gonna check on that too. Just for all these fail safe checks, we have selected a lower altitude than our final approach fix. But let's go ahead and check. Our TOD is at about 6.5 minutes. So in 6.5 minutes, we're gonna get to our top of descent, and from there we are going to make a right-hand turn, and then we'll go to Grace, Nasty, Zyko, and we'll land into runway 28 right. Our approach is RNAV, Yankee 28 right, LPV. So we will definitely get our vertical and horizontal profile. We don't have to worry about that. And once we capture the glide slope, we'll go in for a bit and then land it ourselves. So that is the plan for now. Our descent checklist is pretty set. We have the altimeter set, we have approach procedure check, and we'll just do the rest as we go by. Very fluffy cloud. Also, let's go ahead and check, because I just love checking the weather now that I know the weather system works. So we are going to go to our map page, go to weather radar, and there you see it is almost about I would say, how many feet, if that is 15, like around 8,000 feet below us. And if we go to the horizontal, let's zoom out just a little bit. So we don't have much bad weather coming up for us. We'll be landing in around how many nautical miles left? Around 25. So right around here we're gonna have a little bit of bad weather as we make our right turn, maybe snow or rain. But other than that, we are pretty fine. And if we go to our vertical profile, yeah, we're pretty fine. Yeah, mostly the weather is at a lower altitude, around 4,000, 5,000 feet. That shouldn't cause too much issues for us. So let's go to our navigation map, open our flight plan, and we are around 4.5 minutes away from our top of descent. So we're about a minute and a half away from our top of descent, so I'll just do a quick weather check just to make sure that the weather is good and our approach is good to go. So your destination 260 at 8 knots, and we chose runway 28 right, which is perfect for the weather conditions, so we are good with that, and we are a go with our descent, top of descent, in about a minute. And then we can see our V path goes from armed to activated, and all we have to do is maintain our speed. And as we go to our initial approach fix, the moment we hit initial approach fix, we'll try to put our flaps to 10, and then once we hit waypoint nasty, we are going to put it to 20 flaps, and then right at final approach fix, we're gonna go to flaps 35. Once we hit flaps 35, we can also go ahead and turn on our auxiliary fuel pump, and we'll be all set for landing. And I hope this time it will be a super smooth landing. That's all I can hope for. And we started our distance, so I'm gonna just cut down on power, stay around 150 knots initially, and then we'll slowly decrease. We are making that right turn from Grace. Yeah, I think I did not see how far we are from Nasty, so yeah, we're not gonna put our flaps to 10 right now. We'll wait until we get closer to Nasty. And we are crossing at 10,000 feet, so we are going to turn on our landing lights back on. We're still clear, but we can see that in a moment the weather is gonna take for a turn, so let's just enjoy the beautiful sky one last time before we get down. And for the second leg of the trip from Pittsburgh to Washington County Airport, we'll do a low, very low altitude VFR, because I don't think the distance is that great. Could be around max 20 nautical miles, I think. Once again, our altimeter is set, which is 2979er. Just to confirm, we can go ahead on our flight plan, and we can go to destination. Actually, it did change to 2981, so let's go ahead fix that. 2981 is set, and there you go. We are descending at about 152 knots, so I'm gonna bring it back to keep it around 150, and we're descending at 800 feet per minute. One thing that I really have to work on is using the weights and balances page to match all the weights. I don't know why I've been avoiding it, but yeah, going forward I think I'll make it a little bit more realistic. So we'll put the exact weight that we have from OnAir Manager to our aircraft in Flight Simulator. Once again, if you weren't here from before, we are doing a 2-leg mission. So first we're gonna go to Pittsburgh, and then we're gonna go to Washington County to drop off the cargo that we have, which we picked up from Wayne County in Ohio. As we're getting closer to Nasty, we are going to keep an eye on our speed. We'll try to stay around 140 to 45 knots so that we can go down with our flaps. From Nasty to Zyko, it is around 10 nautical miles, so we'll have time to lower our flaps further down. And we're covered with cloud now. It's just never a clear day in winter towards the east. Like, New York City is always gloomy. I just came from LA where the weather was just beautiful, but coming back to New York City, it's just gloomy all day long, and it has been for quite a few days. We're gonna get to our bottom of descent in about 2 minutes, so 4,000 feet at Nasty, and then from there we'll descend down to 3,000 feet for our final approach fix, and we'll be lined up with our runway. says the base of the overcast clouds is at 2,600 feet, so let's just hope that once we get below that it is clear skies and we can see where we are gonna land. Last few flights I did in OnAir Manager, I could barely see where I'm going. Okay, let's set our first flaps. We are at flap speed. We have to be below 138 to set our flaps to 10, and we are at 135. So first notch of flaps go down. And once we are in between Nasty and Zyko, we are going to set our flaps to 20. And once we hit Zyko, our final approach fix, we'll set our flaps to full. Auxiliary fuel pump is going to come on and we'll be all set for landing. We'll try to keep my speed around 120 knots, as that is our flap speed for flap 20. We're going to start descending to 3000 feet towards our final approach fix in a minute. And once we do, we are going to set our flaps to 20. And yeah, once we hit final approach fix, we'll put our flaps full, auxiliary fuel pump can come on, and we should be good for our landing. And also, I'll press the approach button so we capture the glide slope. So there we go. Now we are going to start descending down, and I'll set my flaps shortly. This is good. Flaps can go to 20. we'll try to maintain the speed at around 110 knots. As for our final flaps, the speed limit is 108 knots in the Kodiak. So I'll try to stay around 110. Will not decrease the speed too much, and I think press the approach button right now, and in my PFD we can see the glide path is armed and will be activated once we hit it, which will hit it in a bit. So sometimes I think having the VNAV and glide path, the glide path is captured and then suddenly just releases it. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think the cloud is clearing up a little bit, but everything is just snowy wonderland down there. The base of the cloud should be at 2600 feet, so around 800 feet below, and after that it should be clear for the remainder of the landing. Once again, once we land, we're gonna quickly shut off our engine as we find parking. We find a parking, shut off the engine. Our first half of the mission will be done. Turn on the engine again and go off to our next destination, which is Kilo Alpha Foxtrot Juliet, which should be close by, shouldn't be more than 20 or 30 nautical miles. There you go, we are about to hit our final approach fix, and from there we'll be capturing our glide slope. The speed is good for full flaps, and once we can see the runway we can turn off or disengage the autopilot and we'll be on our way. So now we are just going to be waiting for the glide path to be captured. Some very rough wind, so we're getting about 68 knots and our glide path is captured. We're getting around 263 at 28 knots, so 28 knots of winds, not easy. We have our glide path and we'll go full flaps, keep our speed on check. Once we can see the runway visually, we should be good to disengage the autopilot. Also, I'll turn on the auxiliary fuel pump. Flaps are full. During the landing, the main thing is just managing the speed. That's the main part. Like, you should not exceed the speed limits to have a good landing. Very strong headwind. We're gonna try to stay around 80 to 85 knots before we land, and our touchdown speed should be around 70 or at least lower 70s. That's what I found for me to like really work out really good. I still cannot see any sign of the runway. We are around 1600 feet above the ground, so that should be, we still should not be concerned, and our destination altitude is radio altimeter 350 feet. So as long as we can see the runway by the time we get to 350 feet above the ground, we should be good. Should be able to see the runway pretty soon. We are fully configured for the landing. Auxiliary fuel pump is on. Flaps is full down. And I can see the runway light. Great. Decrease my speed just a little bit more.
260 at 23 knots.
We're really gonna get pushed around everywhere with that wind. Look at that. I think I'm going to turn off my autopilot right now, and we have control. We can see the control tower too a little bit on our left. There you go, we have touchdown. I don't think that was really a bad landing. We'll see what our touchdown rate was. I can see it's 182 feet per minute, still a pretty hard touchdown. So we're gonna take left on our next taxiway. That will come on our left. Auxiliary fuel pump can go off, flaps can go up, and once we make the turn, we'll put the fuel condition lever to low idle. We'll try to find whatever ramp we can very close to the runway, as we're gonna use the same runway for takeoff, I believe. There you go, this is where we take a left turn on the taxiway. Fuel condition lever can come to low idle, taxi light can come on, landing and strobe light can go off. Flaps should be pretty good up. We'll be crossing this runway. I think our landing lights and strobe lights has to come on here as we're getting on the runway, and we're just going to cross this runway. And our landing and strobe can go off again. And we'll park on our right somewhere, as we are on the ramp area. Or we can actually just go to the left. I don't think anybody's gonna mind if we just go a little bit to the right and park right there. And there's an awkward place to park, but it's fine. Okay, taxi light can go off. Auxiliary fuel pump, we're gonna shut it off. Nav lights can go off, and we're going to generator off, alternator off. Let's turn off the AC. Auxiliary bus can go off, and propeller can go to feather, and fuel condition lever cut off.
Time logged. The flight is finished. It has been monitored by OnAir.
There you go, let's check the details. It says very smooth. Wow, 183 feet per minute. Landing G was 1. Landing speed was 57 knots. A little bit too low, I would say. And everything else looks pretty good. So we're gonna go okay with this. And now we have to do the second leg of our mission. So we can just simply go to our live operations map. prepare for next flight. And this one is already loaded. We already have enough. It's 22 nautical miles away, so we should be good. So let's go ahead and fly now. Our nav lights can come on and we can start tracking. So our flaps are up, everything is pretty much set. We just have to set our flight plan. So we'll go there, menu, and we're going to delete our current flight plan. So origin, Kilo, Papa, India, Tango. There you go. We are going to choose our runway to be, what, 2A right. So let's go with that, enter. Let's go to destination, and our destination is Kilo Alpha Foxtrot Juliet. So Kilo Alpha Foxtrot and Juliet, Washington County. Let's go ahead, check the weather. 250 at 14, gusting at 17 knots. So 250, let's see, only 270 is available, so we'll take that. Let's go to procedures, select an approach, and we can go ILS 27 or RNAV 27. We'll go to RNAV 27. So we can literally see ourselves over there. We'll just go to Nesto as initial approach fix, and we should be good. Radio altimeter is all set. We'll load that up and we are good. So our flight plan is good and set up. We'll take off. Should I just do a visual approach? I think I'm gonna go for a visual approach here. I don't wanna do, but the weather is not good either. Yeah, I think we're good. That's fine. Just go back. Yeah, so everything looks good here. We'll be flying a little bit, 30 nautical miles, and then yeah, this sounds good actually. I'm happy with the flight plan. So all of that is set up. Let's set our autopilot system. We are going to be flying at around 3,800. That should be good. Honestly, I don't want to go way too high. Our altimeter should be fine, 29081. We are going to turn on our nav mode. So GPS, there you go, vertical speed mode, and we're gonna climb at around 1500 initially. CDI is all set, and we're good for the engine start, I believe. So let's go ahead, similar sequence. Fuel pumps are on, everything's on, beacon can come on. Okay, auxiliary fuel pump is going to go on. Ignition can come on, starter can go to low, and we're gonna watch for NG rising to 14%, and we're gonna put our fuel condition lever to low idle. It did, so fuel condition lever can go to low idle. We will wait until our NG is at green, aka 53%, and then we are going to turn off our starter, ignition, and auxiliary fuel pump can go to standby. There you go. The fuel pump to standby. Let's quickly go ahead, turn our generator, alternator, auxiliary bus, and our propeller can go to max. Oxygen can come off, I forgot to set that. Okay, we have a good start. NPM is yellow, so we're not gonna move, and NPM is at white. So we should start taxiing. Let's zoom into our map. We'll go straight. Yeah, very easy taxi route too. Okay, everything looks good. Taxi light can come on, parking brake can, actually before we remove parking brake, flaps set for takeoff, parking brake can go off, and let's start moving. Also, I forgot to turn off the yaw damper when we were landing. That is really bad. Should always follow the checklist. At least we had a good landing, so that is good. And now we're going to do our second leg of this mission. We can take this right and then the left. Raining in Pittsburgh too, so I'm 100% sure it's raining down to Washington County Airport as well. We're gonna take the next left and we're gonna straight up line up with the runway. For rudder trim, I'll set it to around 7. And we are at holding short point for our runway. So at this point, let's set up everything that we need to. So I'm going to stop right here, pull down my power. Auxiliary fuel pump can come on, condition lever can go high idle, flaps are set for takeoff, yaw damper is on, landing lights can come on, taxi can go off, and we're good to line up with the runway. There you go, we are lined up with the runway. Increase the power. And we'll rotate at around 60 knots. We're already at 50. 60 knots and we can go ahead. Rudder trim can come off. Flaps up to 10. As we reach 90 knots, flaps fully up. Auxiliary fuel pump can come standby and we are up. We're going to take a left hand turn here to line up with our GPS before we turn on. And our autopilot can come on right now. In order to maintain the speed, I will turn up my V speed. Seems like we have to be at 7,000 feet. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to skip that one waypoint and we're going to go direct to Kyrie. So we're going to activate that. So this way we cut down a lot of our trip, and we are at 3,800 and we'll be there at 3,000 feet as well. So we're almost at our cruising altitude here. Very short trip here, the last leg of the mission we chose. So we're going down straight to Kyrie. From there we'll take a right turn to our final approach fix at Anu, and then from there we're good to go for a landing. Our top of descent will be very close to us, could be just 5 minutes away. The weather is just not looking too good. So what I did here, let me just show you. So first we had to go to Nesto, and that was around 7,000 feet, but that was also really far. If I had the flight plan page, zoom out just a little bit, you can see we'd have to go all the way over there. So in real life, I feel like what would happen is you'd get vectored to hit somewhere around here. So that's why we're just going to hit to Kari, from there Anvi, and then we'll be good for the landing. So that's the only thing that I changed in our flight plan. Other than that, everything is good. We are at 160, going to 170 knots. I'm just going to cut down the power just a little bit. I do not want a overspeed warning, which will definitely cut points from our OnAir airline manager mission. So our top of descent is around 5 minutes away, and they want us at 3,000, so I'm gonna set our altitude to 2,600, and we'll hit the VNAV button. So VPath is activated, and once we hit our top of descent, we'll start descending down. So my goal is basically to get as close as possible to LaGuardia Airport in New York City, because we have a special mission, I believe, because I leveled up, where I have to take. It's similar to the mission that we did, 2 destination missions. So that's why I tried to move from. We were in Ohio. From there we came to Pennsylvania, and my plan is to keep going east until we get to LaGuardia. Might just do a long flight and call it a day, straight up go to LaGuardia, and then from there we'll do the mission. But for today's stream, I think I'll end it once we get to our destination right now. Around 2 minutes away from our top of descent, so I'll start cutting down our speed a little bit, and it seems like it's a clearer day in front of us. Let's go and check our weather radar. So we'll go to map, weather radar. It's on standby mode right now, so we'll go ahead, mode standby, and we'll go to weather. So as you can see, it's pretty clear up front. Looks like I mean, at this altitude, yes, but I'm not sure about what's gonna happen once we go below and start descending down. But from here, I really like this clear day. Also, I'm going to start another series where we fly from, we fly down the east coast all the way starting from LaGuardia, or I think I chose another regional airport in New York City in Long Island, MacArthur, yeah, Long Island MacArthur Airport. From there, we will fly to Key West, and it is definitely going to be really fun. I still don't know what plane I want to fly it with. Maybe I can just go with Kodiak, but for a change, I'm not sure what really to use. I'll think it through over the next few days before I finalize the flight plan, and then we're good to go. It is gonna be a fun. It is gonna be fun streaming it. Flaps can go down to 10. For this flight, everything is gonna happen pretty quick because we are just around 7 nautical miles away from our final approach fix. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that. We can definitely use the glide path as this is an RNAV approach, and it looks much more clear down here than it was in Pittsburgh. So that's a good sign. So we're gonna put our flaps to 20. We are below 120 knots. This time I'll try to remember to turn off the yaw damper for our landing, and yeah, it looked a little bit clear, but I feel like right in front of me there's a huge smoggy cloud. We are below the final flap speed, which is 108 knots. So we'll keep it around there because we know we are coming at our final approach fix in around 4 nautical miles. I will also go ahead and turn on my approach mode just to get a little bit help from the glide path as we descend down, and I cannot see the runway visually. Once we have the runway visually in our sight, we will turn off the autopilot and we'll go ahead and complete the landing. It's a fairly small airport, but will do for us. It's a size 2 defined by OnAir airline manager, so not a grass strip or anything. We're still at 3,000 feet and we still cannot see the runway, just waiting for the glide path to be activated, and from there we should be good. Still staying at around 110 knots of speed, not trying to overspeed or anything here. So the glide diamond, I should say, is slowly getting down, so we'll get started to prepare for our final descent to the runway. For that, we can go ahead, put our flaps to full, yaw damper can come off, auxiliary fuel pump can come on. We are on the glide path, so we'll keep the speed on check, try not to exceed over 100 nautical miles. I mean 100 knots, yeah, I keep on messing that up. But yeah, this time I did remember to turn off the yaw damper, the auxiliary fuel pump is on, and we are descending down. Still cannot see the runway on sight, and our decision altitude is set to 350 feet above the ground. Is it right after the hill or something? I can't see any airport or runway or anything in my sight. And we are around 900 feet above the ground. Gotta keep that speed below 100 knots. Very interesting, no runway in sight, and we are
Wind 260 at 21 knots.
okay. I think I saw a little bit of a glimpse of the runway. Yeah, I think I can see just a little bit to make it enough that that might be a runway. Yeah, that flashing light, I think that is the runway. Very, very faint. Very interesting. Yeah, now I can see the runway, so we'll just keep going. Once we feel comfortable, we will go ahead and turn off the autopilot and we'll do the landing. There's a body of water right next to us, and we're around 400 feet above the ground. We are going over a hill here, I'm pretty sure. The lighting is a little bit off. No, I think, yeah, that is just a beacon light or something. Okay, I think we're good. Autopilot can go off. We have controls. And yeah, flaps are full. Auxiliary fuel pump is on. Yaw damper is off. So we're good for the landing. Some strong, not really strong headwind, yeah. But it is still annoying, a little bit annoying to land. Keep the speed above 80 until we get to the threshold of the runway. Cutting down on my speed. Ooh, downdraft. There you go, we are on the threshold.
Landing time logged.
There you go, we have landed. Did the reversers as well, and we are good. Okay, let's move. Ooh, okay, that was a... I'm not sure how that landing was. I couldn't see the landing speed or anything. So auxiliary fuel pump, taxi light come on, landing strobe off, auxiliary fuel pump off, fuel condition lever to low idle, and let's go ahead find a parking in front of us. That was a good landing, but I think we missed the center line by a lot, so I'm just going to stop over here as well. So there you go, throttle is idle, taxi light can come off, parking brake can come on. Let's start. Our flaps can go up actually. Yeah, nav lights can go off, and we just gotta shut off the engine. So generator, alternator, auxiliary bus, fuel pump can go off, propeller can come to feathering, and fuel condition lever to cut
Engine
off.
time logged. The flight is finished.
And
It
let's
has
look
been
at the
monitored
data
by
from our
OnAir.
flight. Well, smooth landing. The G was 1.14. We landed at negative 95 feet per minute, and landing speed was 60. So most of the things were good except the G-force. All the bonuses and everything looks good, so we are good over here. We are done with this flight as well, so the mission is 100% complete. Let's go ahead, shut off our engine. So pitot heat can come off, nav lights can go off, flaps are up, avionics bus can go off, and this annoying menu can go off, master switch can go off, fuel shut off valve can go off, and last but not the least, there you go, parking brake set, everything's set, and we are on the ground, done with the mission. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you learned something about the Kodiak 100, and I'll see you in the next one.